They are stressing out Ghana. And we saw that coming when Ghana passed the anti-LGBTQ legislation. We knew this was coming, right? Like, we've seen it with Uganda, we've seen it with Kenya, we've seen it with other countries in Africa. Whenever a government or the parliament decides on a bill and they want to pass it, you know, as a law, and they are doing something that the West is not aligned with, the West doesn't agree with, usually there's backlash, and the backlash is going to be backed with some threats, with some sanctions, and with cutting aid and support that they've been giving that country. And that is precisely why we keep saying, let's not depend on these countries, because at the end of the day, when they're giving you money, it's not free money. Even outside of the interest, even outside of the loan, there is still an agenda behind it, and you have to be sure that you be able to handle it if they tomorrow refuse to give you that money, the promised medication, or the promised whatever it may be. You have to be prepared for it. Just recently, Uganda passed the bill, and the UK, US, they just freaked out, and they started banning members of parliament. They started threatening, and on top of that, the World Bank stopped the money that was supposed to go to Uganda, which, you know, it's a great loss. It's millions and millions of dollars. But Uganda knew when they made that decision what is about to happen, and hopefully they were prepared for it. But at the end of the day, how well can you be prepared for it? You just have to understand that you will suffer for a little bit until you get rid of that dependence, right? And just to remind you, this is what happened in Uganda.
Yoweri Museveni is responding to the criticism that he has been facing regarding the new anti-LGBTQ bill, and the Western nations have been not only criticizing him but forcing him to not sign that bill that was passed through his parliament. But as you know, he amended a few things and signed it off, and now that he has signed it, he's been facing a lot of backlash, not necessarily from people but powerful governments. Now he is responding. Watch this clip, we'll come back and discuss.
This issue of homosexuality is a very serious issue, because it is an issue of the human race. So it's not something that you should discuss to be seen, to be what? No, 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 no. You only talk because you are sure of what you are saying. Otherwise, keep quiet. Don't add to the confusion. There is enough confusion already. Now, when we are discussing the issue of homosexuality, in the last 200 years, in this part of the world, Ankole, Kigezi, Buganda, Bunyoro, Karagwe, Tanzania. So, but it was a smaller number. I have had 5 names in the last 200 years. Because me, I'm from this area here. My clan is one of the oldest in this part of the world. Now, when this issue, at that time, of course, this was a private issue. People were not they were not encouraging it, but also they were not fighting it, because it was like hidden, small secret of some few people. The problem with the Europeans is that they bring things which are out of place, that suspicion of merely being suspected to be cannot be criminalized, cannot and should not be criminalized, because he is like a sick person. If somebody is sick, do you criminalize him for that? Now, I'm glad when they went back, apparently they cured this. This was cured. The problem is that, yes, you are disoriented. You have got a problem to yourself. Now, don't try to recruit others now. If you try to recruit people into a disorientation, then we go for you.
So it looks like the same thing is going to happen in Ghana. But by the way, Nana Akufo-Addo, the president, hasn't signed yet. You know, he needs to sign it off. But he still has like a few days to think about it, to look at it, to ask them to revise. But, you know, he still hasn't signed it. And there was a leak from the government, by the way, by the, I believe, the Ministry of Finance. And they were sending the government, or Nana Akufo, a warning saying that Ghana can lose billions of dollars if you sign off this bill, and we will suffer. So I thought that leak was also quite interesting, why they decided to leak that information to the public, to BBC as well. By the way, BBC said that they got this information. And so there's a lot going on, and we know for a fact if they do decide to go ahead with it, there is a lot of sacrifice that they have to be willing to accept, and that is the reason why many African countries are afraid to stand up against Western countries like the US or the UK, because they know, or the European Union, they know exactly what is going to happen. And that is why many African leaders are now starting like a stronger relationship with Russia and China, because they seem to not demand a lot, at least in the present time. It's mostly like, let me give you money and give me an interest, that kind of deal. Not necessarily you have to follow my principles and values, you have to follow my agenda, and you have to scrap this, you have to do this, you have to add this to your law. They don't do that, and that is why they're gaining more popularity in a lot of African countries. But US is literally not capable of doing that. They literally want to run the world, and they have been for a while, so you can't blame them for wanting to continue this power thirsty way of ruling the world. But unfortunately, people will have enough. Countries will start to realize that this is not serving them, and they'll start refusing it. They start pushing back, and the US will retaliate. And at the end of the day, there's power in unity and there's power in numbers. So the rest of the world is much bigger than just the US. They just really were slick, and they were able to convince us that we need them for everything. So we just need to inspire our own, work hard, and come together. That is why we keep saying unity, unity, unity. Trust me, there's power and strength in our people coming together. So let's not minimize that. But yeah, they are receiving warnings. Like the US, for example, said they are deeply troubled by Ghana's new legislation. You know exactly what that means, right? So yeah, we shall see. We'll follow up what is going to happen in Ghana. But here are some of the members of parliament, what they've been saying even before this legislation was proposed. Watch this clip, we'll come back.
But let me use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to celebrate Mr. Speaker, who has been a stalwart and a bastion for this bill. But for Mr. Speaker, this bill would most likely have been killed. Mr. Speaker has stood his ground and ensured that this bill has come this far. And I want to use this opportunity, with the support of my colleague members of parliament, since we all support this bill, to serve notice to the Western powers that we have taken judicial notice of what they have done to the Speaker of Uganda. After Uganda passed the bill, the sanctions on the Speaker of Uganda's parliament and on the sponsors of those bills, we will serve notice as well that if they replicate same with our Speaker and members of parliament, we will also take action against their business interest in our country, because they serve in this country and make money from here and take back home. They cannot hold us to ransom.
Yeah, so it seems like they strongly believe that this is what they want to do. So I'm pretty sure they're aware what is going to happen in the next few years when it comes to the World Bank, when it comes to IMF, when it comes to this Western nations. They will definitely put some pressure on them, but it's about staying true to yourself, I guess. But anyways, fam, let me know down below what your thoughts are about this. I'm Wangel Zalalem. I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed. Bye.